So let's just say, as a voter, you're not particularly pleased with either of the two parties because they find themselves in weird situations like this, where really, what is a Democrat and what is a Republican? The lines get iffy. So this week, a new initiative launched, and this story is from Indiana Public Media. This initiative, called Independent Indiana, launched Tuesday to help spotlight and provide resources to Hoosiers who are running and winning as independents. The idea began when Executive Director Nathan Gotch, himself a 2022 independent candidate for Congress, dug into election results across the state. In 2023 and 24, 244 independent candidates qualified for partisan races, said Gotch in a news release. More than half of them, 52%, won. Those results point to something real happening in Indiana politics, continued the quote from Gotch. So, to get on the ballot, candidates must collect petition signatures from registered voters equal to 2% of the most recent Secretary of State vote in their district. Now, for a statewide race, that can mean like 37,000, maybe 50,000 if you factor in rejections. With paid circulators charging like $15 per valid signature, ballot access for a statewide independent candidate can cost more than $700,000. So, let's see. Where did we leave off, Derek? Tracy, let me come back to you here. Uh, is this a waste of time? Is this guy better suited trying to elect Democrats or Republicans, or is this a worthwhile endeavor?
I All right. My liberal progressive activist heart says, you know what? I'm really, 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 really sick of holding my nose and voting for moderate Democrats that don't reflect my values. I would love there to be a space for, more independence of thought in our candidates. But at the same time, the American political system is built and it's ingrained and baked into every law, detail, and structure that supports our political system as a two-party system. So if you right now with the stakes this high, do I want to throw my vote away? No, I don't. So I guess on the balance, yes, it's a waste of time. And yes, you should be trying to get involved in your local Democratic political organizations and fight for change on the ground. But that's not a sexy sell to anyone because it's work. So
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure, this independent Indiana thing is work. But I think they're working uphill, don't you, Trish?
Well, I think that a closer look at this data, well, number one, I kind of have some issues with the overall methodology, but I would also suggest that looking more closely at this data would inform people that most of these people who are running as independents actually vote for Democratic policies when they get in office and have
hmm.
Democratic primary voting history. And in Southern Indiana, especially, this is a perennial question. I mean, when I ran for legislature, people were saying, why don't you run as an independent or even a Republican? And I'm like, because I'm not. But
Huh.
yeah, so this whole thing is, as Democrats, we look and we say, well, if they can't get elected as a Democrat, maybe they could be a Republican, but they have to promise to remain true to Democratic principles and policy. And so that's a little bit of information under the surface that I think would be interesting for people to consider. But I do not agree with that thing of running as an independent if you're really a Democrat. So, but the our brand as Democrats is so toxic in some parts
Yeah.
of the state. And if this means that some of the people who are closest to the electorate can put in more progressive policies and support ideas that really help people because they really are Democrats and they want to help people, then it's not so bad.
That's interesting, Trish. I didn't really perceive of it from that lens. So this could really just be a way for us to shift. the balance of power in Indiana. Now that
It will
gives
never be enough to do that.
Mhm.
It will never be enough to do that.
Mm,
We will never have enough independent. We couldn't have an independent Speaker of the House. I mean,
it's true.
that's
So
where
key
the
positions. So this could
Yeah.
we could sneak some Democrats in maybe, but for key seats of power, it just wouldn't fly, you think?
yeah. I am thankful for the incremental benefits that come to communities because of these independents who are actually Democrats. No Republican is going to run as an independent. Have you ever thought about it that way?
Mm-mm.
Why would you sever your time to the predominant brand when all you have to do is put your name on the ballot and you get elected? So think of how many of these independents are actually Democrats.
Yeah, there's a lot there that I hadn't thought about. I mean, obviously, so much of the way we do our elections, like Tracy said, lends itself to a two-party system. That's just, poli sci 101. That's Duverger's law, which I've talked about a million times on the podcast before. But on the other hand, Trish mentions the branding, and there are some folks. I believe there was a candidate in Nebraska who ran as an independent last year and came really close to winning. The Democrats kind of cleared the field, let him take their line. I want to say this guy out in Maine who's running against Susan Collins now is an independent who would basically caucus with the Democrats. And you look at people like Angus King and Bernie Sanders. There are places where it makes sense from just a branding standpoint. I think I would have to find out more about this Independent Indiana Commission and what exactly they stand for.